As the saying goes, no plan survives contact with the enemy.
I'm gonna go for help.
This mantra is often attributed to Helmut von Moltke, the Elder, or possibly General Karl von Clausewitz. But let's face it, they're both German, and the British, particularly the English, have always been a bit jammy when it comes to war. I'm thinking Cressy, Blenheim and Trafalgar. Let's not mention Hastings, Bannockburn or Arnhem though.
We'd like to, but we can't accept your surrender. Was there anything else?
So how would a battle plan created in 1940 stand up? This is what we're looking at today. Through trial and error during the summer of 1940, Air Vice Marshal Keith Park created the ultimate strategy to fight off the Luftwaffe, then targeting Britain's capital. Though Park himself was a New Zealander, he shared the heritage of the country he was defending. He was also able to draw on his experience growing up in New Zealand to add flexibility into his strategy. Where was Lee Mallory from again? That's right, an estate in Cheshire. Apparently he had a valet and a butler. So let me talk you through how Air Vice Marshal Park planned to use his forces against a mass attack on the capital. I've based this on real world data and the primary sources sent out to number 11 group on the 17th of October 1940. Full marks if you can tell me in the comments which real life raid this is based on. The battle is about to begin. 1600 hours. RDF operators start picking up plots of small formations flying over the Channel and the French coast. 1605 hours. On this afternoon, number 11 group has 12 Hurricane squadrons and 7 Spitfire squadrons on strength. Air Vice Marshal Keith Park also has the option of calling numbers 10 and 12 group if any raid surpasses 100 plus. At this point in time, numbers 602 and 66 squadrons are patrolling a line along the middle of Kent at about Maidstone at 15,000 feet. Numbers 249 and 253 on Hurricanes are at readiness, as are numbers 41 and 74 squadrons. Numbers 222, 92, 257 and 501 are currently at available 15. Numbers 615 and 229 are available 20. 1625 hours. With the raid seeming more and more likely, numbers 41 and 74 squadron are scrambled to relieve numbers 602 and 66 on their Maidstone patrol. 1635 hours. Numbers 41 and 74 squadrons arrive on their patrol altitude at 15,000 feet. As soon as they're replaced, numbers 602 and 66 squadron RTB, and refueling takes place as quickly as possible. From the 8th of October 1940, Air Vice Marshal Park instigated a rule that any pilot on patrol, essentially at readiness in the air, should fly at 15,000 feet. This was to conserve their oxygen supply, which, you'd assume, was not sufficient to match the endurance of the aircraft. I've not been able to track down a figure for how much oxygen was stored in your average Spitfire or Hurricane during the battle. If you know, please let me know in the comments. There's also the issue of pilot fatigue when flying at high altitudes for a long time. Many pilots reported that the extreme cold and extended use of oxygen could be quite debilitating, even for young fighter pilots. 1640 hours. With a credible build-up over the Pas de Calais, numbers 222 and 92 squadrons are scrambled from Hornchurch and Biggin Hill respectively, with a rendezvous set for Biggin Hill at combat altitude. 257 and 249 squadrons are scrambled from North Weald, and 501 and 253 squadrons from Kenley. The 4 Hurricane squadrons are ordered to climb north on a line roughly Kenley-Hornchurch. As these squadrons scramble, 615 and 229 at Northolt are brought to readiness. On the 11th of September, Park gave his controllers a bit of a bollocking in order to correct several mistakes in their orders and tactics. One of them was sending squadrons too far forward while they were still climbing to the appropriate patrol height. From then on, the idea was to allow these aircraft to get their height further north, then be directed to the battle in the south. 1645 hours. Numbers 615 and 229 squadrons are scrambled from Northolt and ordered to patrol Biggin Hill, Kenley at 20,000 feet. 1655 hours. Enemy formations begin crossing the coast on a wide front from North Foreland to Beachy Head. Numbers 41 and 74 squadrons are ordered from their patrol altitude to combat altitude, i.e. 30,000 feet. The filter room, with information from RDF, Observer Corps reports, both visual and from sound locators, begin to build a picture of the developing raid. Determining the enemy force is approximately 150 plus, they contact number 10 and 12 groups for assistance. Number 10 group notifies number 609 Squadron and 56 Squadron to patrol Tangmere. Number 12 group is notified of the request via Fighter Command itself. Park requests 4 squadrons to patrol each of the following airfields at 16,000 feet: Hornchurch, Northolt, Biggin Hill and Kenley. Experience tells Park not to expect this order to be carried out until at least 17-20 hours. As these requests are being made, numbers 41 and 74 Squadron report they are at 30,000 feet, currently over Maidstone. Meanwhile, number 17 Squadron is brought to readiness. 16:56 hours. A minute later, the 2 pairs of Hurricane Squadrons from North Weald and Kenley report they are at 20,000 feet, patrolling between Hornchurch and Kenley. They, along with numbers 41 and 74 Squadrons, are vectored towards one part of the attacking force, then just tracking inland between Hastings and Dungeness.
Control to Mitre Leader. Vector 250. Bandits 60 plus, heading north, Angels 20. Control to Mandrel Leader. Steer 170. Bandits 60 plus, heading north, Angels 20. Expect friendlies above you coming from the east. Control to Alert Leader. Your new heading 210. Bandits 60 plus, heading north, Angels 20. Expect friendlies en route.
1700 hours. Number 609 Squadron takes off from Middle Wallop and 56 Squadron from Boscombe Down. They are heading east to cover the Tangmere sector. At the same time, number 17 Squadron is scrambled with orders to patrol a line Debden Hornchurch at 10,000 feet until number 12 Group Relief enters the 11 Group sector. If you're a student of the Battle of Britain, you know that Park and Lee Mallory didn't see eye to eye. Despite Park being able to call in number 12 Group squadrons to cover his northern bases, experience taught him not to trust them. So from the 5th of September, the policy in number 11 Group was to send 1 or 2 of its own squadrons to cover those airfields and then join the battle when number 12 Group turned up. 1701 hours. Shortly after the 2 squadrons from number 10 Group take to the air, numbers 615 and 229 from Northolt report they are at 20,000 feet, currently over Alpington. They're vectored to the Hornchurch sector to patrol between Rochester and Gravesend.
Hello, Panther Leader. This is Control. Steer 070. You are to orbit the Rochester line, Angels 20.
In his grand strategy to fight off London-bound raids, Park elaborated on his previous policy which instructed squadrons to gain height before they were sent into battle. As each squadron was scrambled, especially early in the developing attack, they were first sent to patrol sector aerodromes. Once they had gained their combat altitude, they could then be vectored onto plots. 1705 hours. Numbers 41 and 74 in Spitfires and numbers 257, 249, 501 and 253 make contact with the enemy over East Grinstead. The Spitfires have been ordered to tackle the escorts and the Hurricanes the bombers.
Mandrel to Control, tally ho, 30 plus bombers, likely Heinkel 111s, 60 plus snappers above. Formation currently Angels 2-2 over East Grinstead. We are attacking now.
People often confuse RDF with our modern system of radar used by air traffic controllers. RDF worked effectively looking out to sea, but once raids crossed the coast, they were then tracked by the Mark I eyeball. Unfortunately, that particular model can't see through cloud, so from the 26th of August, Park instigated a new policy. Squadron leaders, rather than just announcing contact with the enemy with a tally-ho, were required to pass on up-to-date information on enemy formations such as height and size. 1710 hours. Numbers 222 and 92 report they are at 30,000 feet over Biggin Hill. They vectored east to intercept a force estimated at 60 plus, which made landfall near Deal 15 minutes before.
Control to Danik Leader. Steer 100. Bandits 60 plus. Angels 20. Heading northwest, currently over Faversham. Report visual contact.
Numbers 603 and 66 are scrambled to rendezvous Biggin Hill at combat altitude. Also, numbers 605 and 302 are scrambled with a rendezvous over Kenley at 20,000 feet. 17:15 hours. The Spitfire pair, number 222 and 92, report a tally-ho, sighting bandits near Gravesend. They are joined in the intercept by a pair of Hurricane squadrons, number 615 and 229 from Norfolk. Again, the Spitfires attempt to hold off the fighter escort, while the lower Hurricanes go straight into the bombers. Number 12 group scrambles the 4 requested squadrons, which will operate in a wing led by 242 squadron, with numbers 1, 310 and 19 following. Meanwhile, at Tangmere, numbers 145 and 213 scramble with orders to patrol a line along mid-Kent. Excellent news! Because of your help, over 10% of viewers who watch my channel over the last 28 days were subscribed. That's a massive improvement over the last few months. Thank you so much. It really helps keep this channel alive. Last week, I set a challenge to reach 60,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but I'm going to have to raise that goal to 75,000 because of you, legends. If you aren't subscribed and you want to join us in our new mission, then click the appropriate buttons, toot sweet, and then we can get back to the good stuff. 17:20 hours. Despite a valiant effort to break up the Western Raid, some German aircraft get through to London and cause damage to the East End. Just as their bombs are dropping, a second German wave crosses the coast. This formation had been travelling west along the Channel, and Park had anticipated the diversionary raid by calling up number 10 group and holding his Tangmere squadron back. 17:30 hours. Numbers 603 and 66 squadrons report they are at 25,000 feet over Biggin Hill and are vectored south to meet the second German wave.
Calling Viking Leader. Control here. Vector 210. Bandits 60 plus. Angels 20. Heading north. Last reported over Uckfield. Other friendlies in the area.
605 and 302 squadrons are given similar instructions. By this point, Tangmere is being patrolled by the 2 squadrons from number 10 group, who are at 25,000 feet. 17:32 hours. Numbers 145 and 213 squadron report they are at 20,000 feet over Red Hill, and they are also vectored to the south.
Control calling Bearskin Leader. And you heading for you. Steer 180. Bandits 60 plus. Angels 20. Heading north.
17:35 hours. Number 605 squadron calls out a tally-ho on the second wave. They are just north of Crawley.
Turkey Leader calling. Tally-ho, tally-ho. 60 plus bandits heading north. Angels 15 up to 25. Bombers Ju-88 with fighters above. Currently south of Gatwick. I am now climbing up the sun to attack.
This formation of 60 plus is also attacked by numbers 603, 66 and 302 squadrons. As the fight moves northward, numbers 145 and 213 arrive to assist. As the feint attack is clearly not directed at the Portsmouth area, the number 10 squadrons over Tangmere are vectored north to patrol the Kenley sector.
Hello, Sorbo Leader. Control calling. Steer 060. Patrol Gatwick. Angels 25.
17:40 hours. Fighter Command successfully turns the bombers of the second force away from London. Numbers 609 and 56 squadron from 10 group are vectored onto the retreating German formation, just as numbers 145 and 213 arrive in the area. Number 12 group's Big Wing arrives over Biggin Hill. With no trade in the area, they're ordered to patrol the number 11 group sector aerodrome line north of Edenbridge. Number 17 squadron is ordered to Pancake. 1800 hours. With a job well done and the majority of the enemy recrossing the coast in the gathering darkness, Park releases his number 10 and 12 group support. In this simulation, I've tried to limit RAF formations leaving the coast. From way back on the 19th of August, Park tried to discourage RAF pilots from venturing out to sea further than they could easily glide back to land. Though some eager pilots still chased the enemy back to France on occasion, it was a policy that saved a lot of lives. So the interesting thing about this simulation was that the plan was never really used. By the time that it was instigated on the 17th of October, there were no major attacks on London before the end of the Battle of Britain. The only exception perhaps is on the 29th of October, but it wasn't as big a raid as we saw earlier in September. So what do you think to the plan, and do you think what I presented today would actually work? What would the Germans do in response? Where are the failings in this video? Please let me know in the comments. I'm always interested to learn from what you guys are saying. And if you've enjoyed what you've seen and you haven't subscribed, please do that to help join the mission to get to 75,000 by the end of 2025. I'm really hoping we're going to be able to manage that. And I will see you in another video, hopefully very soon.